Appreciate you all taking the time to be here tonight. I'm Greg Van Slamberg, the principal. This is the class of 2028, and we are really excited for these next steps. I talked to you a few weeks ago at the showcase and said the next time we meet, it's going to be getting more and more real in that transition from 8th grade into high school. And that's what today is. Today's the start of some real kind of practical matters, some questions that we want to help guide you through in the decisions you have to make and the choices that you have over the coming weeks and months to make this transition really good. We think that we have a lot of ways for you to get engaged and involved and comfortable and supported in this transition. It's a big step. A lot of you might be coming in, know a lot of people. A lot of you coming in not knowing many people, or many of you have a sense of exactly what's going to happen, and many of you do not. Whatever boat you're in, you're not alone in that, and you have great staff and resources here to support you in that. So we're going to introduce you to some of those tonight. We're going to talk through some of the first steps that you've got coming up in the coming days and weeks, and then look ahead to the next several months of what's going to happen in the transition into the summer and into the fall. Welcome to the class of 2028. We're so excited to have you here. I'm going to start with a prayer. A prayer for today is what we pray at the end of the school day every day. It's called the Daily Examen. It's a traditional and important Jesuit spiritual practice that Jesuit schools all over the country do. We do here at the end of each day. Students, if you shadowed, you probably would have heard this at the end of the day, right before we left for the day. And it is meant to be a practice that recognizes God's presence in our lives and allows us to go back and reflect on what happened through our day and to find God's presence in that, to reflect on some blessings and some things to be grateful for in it, to reflect on some things that we would like to learn from or change or do differently in the future, and to finish with kind of a tone of hopefulness for things going forward. We do that each day here, and it's a really powerful practice. So I'm going to pray that prayer with you, and we'll take a minute to do that. So take a moment to settle yourselves and recall that we are in the presence of God. In God's presence, let us review the events of this day. We recall the moments during the day for which we are grateful. We remember that God is in all of these moments. Next, let us consider the challenges we may have faced today. We remember that God is present when we face our difficulties, comforts us, gives us courage, peace, and wisdom. Next, we reflect on where we may have fallen short today. Recall that God helps us to understand our failings and forgives us. Finally, let us give thanks to God for the gift of today. And let us look forward in hope to the graces God has for us tomorrow. Amen. Okay. Quick overview of the major things to think about, to know that's ahead in a few months to come. Tonight, next steps for the class in 2028, we're going to introduce you to a website called Brebeuf 101, which is kind of your one-stop for information all the time that you'll use a lot in the coming weeks and months. We're going to talk about placement into freshman courses and the scheduling of your freshman course options. It's going to happen with your school counselors. I should note that this entire slideshow is on Brebeuf 101, so there's no need to furiously take notes or take any photos, although you're more than welcome to take photos. But it is on Brebeuf 101 for you. So any of these dates, they're on there. Curriculum nights tonight, March 6th, and then there's a second one of these. And we do this in 2 shifts because it's a lot of information. You're going to hear a lot of information from us tonight. The second shift gives us another set of information. We try to do this in a couple of ways so that you can kind of process it all and think about it all in a proper way. You'll have scheduling meetings with your school counselors in April, and you'll take at least one placement test. Everybody will take at least one placement test, additional, that's math. And you'll have the opportunity to take another one in world language if you'd like, and a couple other options for things like arts and auditions in April as well. And then we get into the summer. So first, before we get into that, Brebeuf 101 is just a link that is brebeuf.org about Brebeuf 101. If you go on our website and to this link, it's going to give you everything you need to know about scheduling, placement, back to school, locker assignments. You're not up there yet, but when your locker assignments come, the school handbook, the thing about what to bring for your device, information, links to athletics, to the arts, to how you set up cafeteria accounts, financial accounts, what happens for new student orientation in August, and other key dates, calendar, everything like that. So Brebeuf 101 is one stop for a lot of things for you. Tonight, we're going to go through, I've got 4 different people, myself and 3 others, to talk with you tonight. We're going to talk about school counseling and how they support you in making your freshman course selections. And you'll hear from our director of school counseling, Raven Ashworth, to talk about the freshman curriculum and the courses that you'll have to take and the options that you'll have to take within that. We'll tell you about summer school, about what that's all about your choice around summer school and options for that, as well as how that fits in with summer athletics options that you might be thinking about. You're going to hear from 2 department chairs, one from English and one from social studies, which both have honors/AP options in the freshman year for you to think about. So they're going to introduce you to what those are and the process for getting into those if that's what you're interested in doing. We'll give a couple notes about if you're in the Learning Center program, how that works, and what happens here from there, as well as getting academic accommodations like extended time if you qualify for those kinds of things. And then I'm going to introduce you to the enrollment form. You're all going to receive an email. Parents will all receive an email with a form that we're going to ask you to fill out in the next 2 weeks that gives us some information as well as some options, some choices among these options that we'll talk about tonight. So that's our overview agenda for tonight. I'm going to turn it from here to Raven, Ms. Ashworth, who's going to talk you through school counseling and your freshman schedule.
Okay, hello everyone. I am going to actually start with a little bit of an appetizer for my presentation. So we just need to acknowledge parents, you all are in the thick of it. And if you're not, you're about to be. These teenagers, they're not for the faint of heart. I do not have teenagers. I have a 4.5-year-old and an almost 3-year-old. And one thing I have learned with working with teenagers is they are very, very similar to toddlers. So we're going to play a quick little game, and I'm just going to read some statements and just yell out whether you think I'm describing a toddler or a teenager. Okay? Okay. Craves independence. Needs boundaries. Will eat all of your snacks the minute you get home. Needs help wiping their butt. No judgment. Can drive. Oh, sorry, you to question your sanity. Requires saint-like patience from a parent or guardian. And lastly, needs to know that their parent or guardian is there to catch them when they fall and continue to love them unconditionally, despite their sometimes questionable decisions. Okay. So the school counselors, we are really here to support your children when you can't be here with them, right? We like to think of ourselves as kind of like a teenager HR department, if you will. We hear their complaints, we work through them with their struggles. Of course, we make sure they're on track for graduation, and of course we do scheduling with them. But we really try to get to know your student well that fall semester of freshman year when we teach a course called Freshman Seminar. And you'll learn more about the specifics of that course when you have your individual meeting with your school counselor. A little bit of unsolicited free advice that you do not ask for, but one thing I really want you all to know, students and parents alike, I can't promise many things in life, but one thing I can promise you is over these next 4 years, your child is going to face challenges, okay? That could be their first C on a test or paper, could be a teacher they don't like, could be being cut from a sports team, could be rejection from a friend or a love interest. I can promise you something is going to happen. But what I encourage you as parents is think of how you will respond, because they will look to you on how to react to these situations. The last piece of advice I'll share today is start having the conversations now on establishing expectations. Every fall semester of freshman year, I give the freshmen a survey and I say, what grades are expected of you from your parents or guardians? They all think you want them to get straight A's, never fail, never struggle. So have those conversations now. The best thing you can do is open that line of communication. So like I mentioned, we help with your course selection. I'm going to show you two screens. It's a lot of words. We just have to acknowledge that. Okay, but there are two options, and I know a lot of you, you might be thinking, oh, does my student need to take summer school? This is an example of a freshman schedule with 0 summer school classes taken. Every single year of high school, you will have to take English. Every single year of high school, we strongly encourage you to take math. World language, your student will need to take for a minimum of 3 years. Freshman year, they have history or AP world history, and Mr. Mayer will talk more about those options later. PE, yes, your traditional PE class is required still. It is offered in the summer, but this again is showing that you don't have to do it in the summer. Digital applications and responsibility, so how to be a good steward on the internet, also offered in the summer, but again, this is an example showing you don't have to do it. You still have that coveted break period in there, or if you need Learning Center, biology, and then your 2 religion classes. This example is one of a student who did participate in PE and Dig apps. So again, if you just look down, it just frees up basically 2 spots for electives. So of course you could always just do 1 course in the summer. If you needed an elective class, a lot of times our orchestra, band, choir students will take summer classes in order to free up that space. Please rest assured, when you meet with your school counselor, we will go over your schedule with you and make sure that you have everything you need. If you have questions about that, you're welcome to reach out to me directly. I will have your official school counselor assignments curriculum night 2. The last thing I will share as you guys kind of register for summer school is the school counselors, we teach a course, mini class if you will, called Study Skills. This course is one that we talk about some note-taking strategies, study spaces, time management, organization, but we also allow students to take a tour of the building. We'll color code their schedule because they'll have it at that time, and just get to know some incoming students. If your student is taking 2 summer school classes, they probably don't need this, if I'm being super honest, just because they'll be familiar with the building. But I find students that are nervous about coming to high school, need some additional strategies before entering freshman year, or are coming and not a lot of people that they know are coming to Brebeuf. This is a really, really great 2-day class for them. So if you have questions about study skills in particular, feel free to reach out to me directly, and my email will be in this PowerPoint. Okay? Now I'm going to invite Greg back up.
Thanks, Raven. Before I start talking about summer school a little bit more, I want to note that in one of these early timelines in here, in April, mentioned that there are counselor meetings, scheduling meetings with your counselors, April 9th to 19th. You're going to hear more about that in the second curriculum night. Even if you can't make that second curriculum night, everybody will have the opportunity to get an email to you that explains how that process works to sign up for a meeting with your child's school counselor in that April window. And you'll hear more about that a little bit later, and you'll have that meeting in April. So everybody will have somebody to walk them through this process individually as much as you need. In the meantime, summer school registration does open tomorrow, so we want to give people the options for that. It's not that you have to register tomorrow. We give you a window of time to put your registrations in. It starts tomorrow, and that includes all of our returning students too, so we like to let you know about how all this works at this evening tonight. As Ms. Ashworth said, summer school is optional. You can make your schedule work without summer school. That said, summer school is very popular here, and the reason has to do both with opening up your schedule for electives, giving yourself a little bit more options in that freshman schedule, as well as just having a chance to meet some people in the incoming class in a setting where it's kind of more relaxed over the summer, and you're not thrown in with all 800-something students and trying to meet people in that environment, which is fine. We also do have many students who do that and do very well with that too. But summer school is popular for both of those reasons, and so we want to lay out just kind of how that works for you all. So there are 2 summer school sessions, they're 3 weeks each, and one course is in one session. So the AM session, 7:30 to 11:30, that means if you were just to take PE, for instance, then you could do it from 7:30 to 11:30 every day, Monday through Friday, from June 10th to June 28th, and that would be your PE class. Or you could do the digital applications and responsibility class during 7:30 to 11:30, again, every day for 3 weeks, and that would be that class. You can do both. You can be here all day, and some students do this. Get here at 7:30, take the PE in the morning and the digital apps in the afternoon, and be here till 4 and get it all done in 3 weeks. You can also do one class in June and one class in July, or just one class in July. You can mix and match all these options. So that's how the summer school timing works. And as I mentioned, for incoming freshmen, it's just these 2 courses which are options for you. And you saw in her layout how they fit in, or how these take the place of things that can't be in your schedule if you don't take summer school. And they will be automatically put in your schedule if you don't take these in summer school. But if you sign up for them in summer school, then you'll be given a choice of some arts and other electives, as well as the Learning Center options that you'll have if you're in the Learning Center program. That'll take the place of these courses in your freshman year schedule. So again, the registration opens tomorrow, and it goes for, I want to say, a 3-week period where you basically just put in, like all through March, you put in which ones you want to do, and we just staff it to meet that need. And then once we get into April and beyond, you can still register for summer school all the way up until it starts. It's just at that point, as space allows in the courses that we've already planned. So it behooves you to get it figured out and done in March if you can. There's always still some space in April, but you might not have your pick of times and spots by course if you wait until April or May. There's an attendance policy for summer school as you're thinking about your summer plans. We have to be pretty strict about it. The policy is you can only miss 1 day of the class. If you're going to take the class, it only meets for 15 days. So if you're going to miss 2 or more days, we say don't take the class. Do it at another time, or do it during the school year. We can help you make your schedule work without it. But it's a 1-day maximum miss policy for summer school. It's how we've got to manage it. Okay, I'm going to turn it now to English. As you start thinking about a couple of your classes, you're going to hear just tonight about 2 of them in detail, English and your social studies. First, for English, you've got 2 options, English 9 and Honors English 9. And our English Department Chair, Ms. Sarah O'Keefe, is going to share about those with you.
Hello, this is O'Keefe. Nice to meet you. I'm here for one reason, and that is that most students are just wondering what's the difference between Honors English 9 and English 9. That seems to be the big question. All of our English classes are college preparatory classes. Students are going to read a lot, they're going to write a lot, and they are going to grow as writers so that when they go off to college in 4 years, they feel really confident about those skills. The difference between Honors 9 and English 9 is that if you are someone that loves reading and you like to talk about what you read, and you're self-motivated, and you're confident in your writing skills, and you enjoy that process, Honors 9 is probably a good fit for you. If that doesn't sound like you, English 9 is probably a good fit for you. So we can help you grow to love it a little bit more. The selection process, or the recommendation process for Honors 9 involves basically a checkbox. You select, when you put in your course preferences, if you're interested in taking Honors 9. Then what I will do is I will look over your full admission portfolio and just make a recommendation based off of what we see in students, where I feel like you're going to be the most successful, but I think it's the best fit for you. But here's the thing, your parents and you know you better than I know. All I know is, the limited amount of information that I have. And so if my recommendation doesn't match what course you're really hoping to take, then that's when I want your parents to reach out to me, and we can just have a conversation to make sure that it's a good fit. So I just want to reassure you that no matter what English class you're going to be in, you're going to be reading a lot, writing a lot, and doing summer homework. I'm excited about that for English. But that really think about what you enjoy doing, what brings you joy, and if it's reading and writing and talking about books, then Honors English 9 is probably a good fit for you. If you don't enjoy that, or you're not as confident with those skills, then take English 9, and hopefully then we can grow your love for English a little bit more. The other thing I want to reassure you is that we don't track. You can move from level to level. I teach English 9. 20% of my freshmen are going to take Honors 10 next year. So it doesn't mean because you decide on one day in April your 8th grade year, that you want honors 9, or that you want on level 9, that you can never push yourself to take a harder class. There's lots of room for movement within our programming. I'm also the yearbook advisor, so I always push yearbook, like photography and design and creativity and school spirit. Yearbook and newspaper are fine arts club classes. They do count as fine arts credits, so we like to always kind of push that a little bit here tonight as well. So, thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. A couple more slides down the road, I'll show you where you make this notation on some of these enrollment forms and whether or not you're interested in honors English 9 or regular English 9. And if you go into, if you want to see the whole 4-year progression, you can do that on Brebeuf 101 on this website and on Brebeuf 101 on this slideshow. As Sarah said, you start in English 9, you can still take AP Language and Composition your junior year, AP Literature your senior year if you'd like. It doesn't mean you have to start on one track and stay on that track for all 4 years. Next, our other academic area and the choice between World Civ and AP World History for freshmen is our Social Studies Department Chair, Mr. Matt Mayer.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. Students, I know you probably sat at school all day and then you got home and mom and dad said, hey, you're going to come back to school and you're going to get talked at about school. So I'm so glad that you're here. I'm going to make it short. I'm a Xavier grad. I kept the Jesuit tradition going and they're down the road at Butler tonight. So kind of hoping my Musketeers beat your Bulldogs. So if I don't make friends tonight, that's okay. Parents, congratulations on choosing Brebeuf Jesuit with your son and daughters and your students. Students, I'm going to tell you what, you've made the best decision of your young lives choosing to come to Brebeuf Jesuit. And I stand by that for my 16 years of being here. And parents, I stand by that because not only am I 16 years as a teacher here, but I'm also a parent of the class of 2028. So I would not be sending our kids here if I didn't truly love Brebeuf and believe everything that I talk about when I say how much I love Brebeuf. So welcome. We're excited to have you here and we're excited to get going. So as Mr. Van Slamberg mentioned before, you'll get at least 3 years of social studies here at Brebeuf. A lot of people do 4 years. As a freshman, you're going to take either World Civilizations or you're going to take an AP World History class, which we'll talk more about that here in a little bit. As a sophomore, you can take U.S. History or AP U.S. History. Similar to what Ms. O'Keefe was saying about English, we don't track people either. So if you're not interested in AP World History and you want to take AP United States History as a sophomore, that's awesome. I was actually going through this afternoon a lot of our current freshmen, rising sophomores who did exactly what we're talking about. They wanted to get their feet wet as freshmen, figure things out, and now they're like, hey, let's take that challenge up to the next level. And now they're going to be interested and excited about taking APUSH as sophomores. Junior year, we have tons of electives, as you can see on the screen there. AP Psychology is a very popular class. Sports Psychology is another popular class. We have a lot of great business classes. We're hoping to keep improving on our business classes too, if that's something that you're interested in. We're looking to do that. And then senior year, you're back at it with economics and government. We have AP classes in both of those as well. But I'm here to talk to you today mainly about if you're interested in AP World History. So the difference between our World Civilizations class and our AP World History class is not a lot. History hasn't really changed, right? It's still the same as it's the Greeks, the Romans, all that fun stuff. It's the pace at which we move, it's the level of reading, it's the level of writing that you'll do that is going to be a big difference. You're going to get challenged if you decide to take on-level World Civilizations, you're going to get challenged. You're at Brebeuf. We're going to challenge you. Okay? But if you want to get that next step, you love history, you love to read, you love to write, AP World is probably the option for you. I can tell you it's a very self-driven class. We kind of use a flipped classroom model where you're working a lot in class, a lot of work on projects that have longer deadlines. So if that's something that you sound like as a student, then I would suggest you do that. But again, if that's not what you want to do as a freshman, take that World Civ class, kick butt during your freshman year, and then as a sophomore you can take APUSH, or you can just take regular United States history. Okay? Again, on the form that Mr. Van Slamberg is going to talk about, you'll acknowledge that you are interested in AP World, and then we look through your portfolio, we review some things, and we say, hey, yeah, they'd be a good fit, or maybe we should stick with World Civ, and those are conversations that we would love to talk about. Students, there is a summer assignment, so get excited about that if you want to do AP World. I'll be outside in the lobby afterwards if anyone has any questions. But yeah, thank you again for being here, and we're excited to have you with us.
Okay, next I'm going to talk through the next steps and what forms you're going to be doing soon from here. So, as I mentioned, tomorrow you'll all be receiving an email. Parents will receive an email of this form called the Summer School Enrollment and Course Request Form 1. It's called 1 because the second one is this second wave, which you'll get a few weeks from now, which has some information about math, world language. If you're wondering why we're not talking about that tonight, that's the next step, math and language placements and choices and things like that a couple weeks from now. But what you're going to get tomorrow will be the Summer School Enrollment and Course Request Form 1. I'm just going to show it to you in a minute to show you about the kind of pieces that tie together what we've been talking about here. We're going to ask you for it back. There's a deadline in a couple weeks. We will, once you put in, if you are putting in that you're interested in Honors English 9 and AP World History, and if you mark Learning Center, which I'll show you and talk about it more in a minute, you'll get confirmation of those things with an email just about those soon after our spring break, which is in early mid-April. And when we come back for Curriculum Night 2 in 2 weeks, some of these things I've already said, you'll talk about our school counseling meetings and how you get those meetings set up. We'll talk about our other academic departments and choices in the freshman year, about the placement tests for math and world language, about arts electives and auditions and things like that, and that second form that you'll be getting at that time. So this form, the email that you'll be getting starts out with kind of some, I know you can't read this, I want to show you a couple things real quick and blow it up as big as I can. It starts with demographic information, just some enrollment type things, some things that go into our database. And the key part I want to show you is the very last thing. The whole thing shouldn't take you much longer than 15 minutes. And the last form is where we get into this one called selections. Selections is where we deal with both. We need this information from you in the next couple of weeks. We need this from everybody. Summer school, accommodations and learning center, and history and English choices and options. So the first thing it asks you about here, or what you just heard about from Ms. O'Keefe and Mr. Mayer, make your selections if you'd like to put yourself in for AP World History alone, but not Honors English 9, you choose just the AP World History. If you'd like to do both of those, you put both, or if you'd not like to do either of those, you put not applicable in that spot. The next thing asks you about accommodations. For a lot of you, we already know about learning needs and accommodations through your applications. If you are going to be in the Learning Center program next year, you are most likely, 99 times out of 100, already know that. And so this should not be new information. If you're sitting there wondering, what is this Learning Center thing? It's probably not something that's necessary for you, but if you have questions about it, come ask us about it afterwards. There's two different pieces that have to do with that here. The first one asks about academic accommodations. Please indicate if your student has a diagnosed learning difference, receiving learning accommodations, and we'll verify that through the things we have with you through admissions. This is whether or not you're in Learning Center. There are some students who get, for instance, extended time on testing based on a diagnosed learning difference, but are not in the Learning Center program. That's not uncommon. So we want to know if that's you, just check yes, and we'll have our school counselor make sure that we have that information for you, verify it. If we don't, we'll let you know what we need. Learning Center enrollment, if you are applying, if you've already applied to Brebeuf with checking the box for Learning Center, and that's already been done, just confirm that with a yes here. And if you haven't, then just put a no. And again, if you want to know more about that, reach out to Colleen anytime, and she will help you through the next steps of learning more, asking more questions about that. Then this piece has the summer school enrollment. First question is, will you be attending summer school? Yes or no? If yes, please choose below. And so there's just the two classes, and you just put in visual absent responsibility. You put in the session, summer session 1 or 2, and the time you'd like to take that class, and PE, the time and session you'd like to take that class. Again, if you're just doing one, just choose one, but not the other. I didn't mention before, but it's in this form. There's a fee for this. You're probably aware of this already, but there's a summer school fee, it's an additional class, it's a $625 fee for the course. So it goes into your billing, and it's not something you pay right when you do this form, but I just want you to know that as you think through this, that's an option that does cost extra. Same with the Study Skills Workshop. This has you indicate interest in the Study Skills Workshop, which has a smaller but also additional fee associated with it as an optional program in July. You register here for that on this form as well. Then there's an acknowledgement, and that's the end of the form. So again, we need this from everybody so that we know, in particular, English and Social Studies coursework as we start your schedules, as well as getting the summer school registration going. We'll ask for this form for everybody in the next couple of weeks. You'll receive it in your email, and Colleen is always your point of contact if you have follow-up questions on the form, or Amy Pitcher, who's our registrar, who, if you're not already, you'll get real familiar with her name and email. She is very available for questions on this form as well. Okay, I believe I've covered everything, but I'm going to check with Colleen. Is Colleen out in the lobby? Colleen, is there anything more that you need to share with them, or that you heard me not say, or any of our other staff folks?
I think you said it all. The one thing that I wanted to tell parents is if you are not getting emails at the email address that you desire, please let me know. We can make sure that all the parties know the right contact information for you.
Thanks, Colleen.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thanks, right. There's more information about honors versus on-level English, history, as well as you can look ahead at math and language. There's long descriptions of what the differences in those courses are. So if you sit down and talk with parents and children about which of these courses is right for you, I recommend going on Brebeuf 101. It has even more than what you heard tonight and what's on this presentation about that.
Quick question, we had the summer practice schedule 2020.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I did mention that. So there's a link on Brebeuf 101 to an athletic page about summer needs, expectations. We know a lot already, not 100% of the details of schedules for every sport. But for instance, if you were thinking about playing basketball and doing summer school, you probably want to know, how can I do summer school and make sure I don't get in the way of basketball practices? That site on Brebeuf 101 will tell you, if you're playing basketball, register for these sessions of summer school, not these sessions. In some cases, there's things on there that, this is kind of TBD, and those are developing over the coming days and weeks. You can always reach out directly to the athletic department for specifics about any sport. But a lot of that information is there for you already. So yeah, if you're thinking about playing sports, and it's not just fall sports, because some winter sports like basketball have summer workouts as well. If you're thinking about sports in general, go ahead on there on Brebeuf 101 and look at anything that's there on the summer for you to know and how to make that work with your schedules as well. Connie?
Just to add on to that, for the athletic calendars, it will say like if it's 2023's dates, but every single summer school recommendation is for this year. So you can be confident that it will tell you like, take summer school in the morning, or workouts won't conflict with summer school. Like that is updated and accurate.
Great. Thanks, Connie. Joe, thanks for the reminder. All right, we like to keep the presentation part of this tight because we like to hang around afterwards for individual questions. That's just such a big group. We're in a hot, kind of stuffed chapel and people standing. I don't want to open it up for general questions with the whole group here, but all of us staff folks, the 5 of us who are here, will stay until the last person leaves with questions. Feel free to catch us either in the lobby or right here afterwards with follow-up questions. That's the end of our presentation. I really appreciate you being here tonight. Welcome to Brebeuf again. Have a good night.